Hello everyone. A very good evening to one and all present here. So today in this particular video we are going to learn FDI in defense. FDI also stand for foreign direct investment in Indian defense sector. So friends, before starting the video, a lot of people ask me about how to get the PDF handwritten notes. So friends, please check the description box where I have provided the Telegram channel, and you will get all the PDF notes of every single video I upload here in that channel. So let's come to the topic. So in this particular video, I have divided my topic into five parts. Firstly, I will talk about the background of FDI in India. Later on, the history of FDI in Indian defense sector, followed by the advantages associated with, and then challenges, and later on at the end, I will conclude by a way forward for India. So let's begin. So background. So, the superpower ambitions, growing complexity of security challenges in India's neighborhood, and economic aspiration. The US, the 5 trillion US dollar by 2025. To safeguard these interests, India require a strong defense capabilities. So you can see that India aspire to become a global superpower, and but there is a security challenge in India's neighborhood. For example, the Pakistan and China, they both are very hostile towards India. But in the recent time, even the Nepal is very hostile towards India. So this is the challenge, the security challenge in India neighborhood, and also India aspired to become a $5 trillion GDP by the end of 2025, but due to COVID-19, this is at the risk. So, to safeguard all these interests, India requires a strong defense capabilities because recently China tried to capture a lot of parts of India in Ladakh, but luckily we have support from all the countries, USA, France, etc., so that China had to go back, and also our prime minister reacted very boldly to China. And in the pursuit of this, for most of the past decades, India has been world's largest arms importer, accounting for the 12% of the global arms imports. So you can see that in the past decades, Indian after independence, India has been the world's largest arms importer. The arms imported by India accounts for the 12% of the total global arms imports in the world. So you can see that how India is heavily dependent on other countries for defense procurement. Now we will look through the history of FDI in defense sector in India. So the defense sector in India, being a strategic sector, was traditionally reserved for the public sector till 1991. The concept of FDI in general was introduced in India in 1991. So friends, we all know that in 1991, when P.V. Narasimha Rao became the Prime Minister of India, and Dr. Manmohan Singh became the Finance Minister of India, then it was the first time that LPG reforms was brought out in India, and the term FDI in India was introduced. And in 2001, it was 2001 when Indian defense sector was opened up to 100% for Indian private sector participants, with FDI permissible up to 26%. So in 2001, first time when Dr. Atal Bihari Vajpayee was the Prime Minister of India, then the first time in the Indian history, the private participants were given permission, and the 26% FDI was permissible to the government roads. So this is the history. And now later on, not only here, but in 2014, when Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi came into power, then he took several steps to raise FDI and attract the investment in FDI sector in India, and also to to open more and more joint ventures, such as we have manufactured BrahMos missile. We are developing the Scorpion diesel class submarine with collaboration with France. Currently we are manufacturing various guns as well as the drones from Israel and USA. So in 2014, when Prime Minister Narendra Modi came into power, then he raised the limit up to 49% through government route, and above 49% through Cabinet Committee on Security route on case to case basis. So from the government route, it means that the companies, those who wants to invest in India, they will have to take permission from the government, and through the cabinet on security route, then they will have to take the cabinet and security. Actually, in the cabinet committee on security, there are three ministries: the prime minister, defense minister, and the finance minister of India. So they will have to take permission from the cabinet committee on security on case to case basis. And later on, in again in 2016, FDI in defense was raised through automatic route up to 49% and above 49% under government route. So you can see how our prime minister have been trying to attract investment FDI in defense sector to boost our manufacturing and also to make in India program. So now coming into the latest decision in May 2020, it was taken in a big push for making India for defense sector and also to make India a self-reliant in defense sector. The finance minister of India, Dr. Nirmala Sitharaman, raised the FDI limit in defense sector under automatic route from 49% to 74%. So any foreign direct investor, they want to invest FDI in Indian defense sector, then they will have not to take any permission for investing up to 74% of the share of any company. Now we will talk about some of the advantages. Then the reduction in imports. Obviously, if we are able to manufacture more and more defense equipments in our own country with the sophisticated and upgraded technology, then we will not have to spend a lot of equipment from USA, Russia, Israel, because these imports demand a high foreign currency, which is very bad for our Indian GDP. Those currencies can be used for the development of the hospitals, roads, schools in our country. And also, the second biggest advantage is inflow of sophisticated technologies. For example, we have got the technology to manufacture the BrahMos missile from Russia. We have got various technology to build aircraft carrier, to build nuclear submarine, Scorpion diesel class submarine. Currently, India is working on spikes and Barak 8 missiles with Israel, and we are getting all the technologies. And later on in the future, India will be capable to build all the defense procurements in their own country. So this is a very good advantage. And later on, the positive performance pressure on the public sector enterprises. Yes, if FDI will come, then their companies will grow, then there will be pressure and the positive performance pressure on the public sector enterprises to improve the qualities of their products, and also the employment opportunities in India will rise because it will attract investment. So there will be more industry opened and it will improve the employment opportunities in India. And also, if India will be self-reliant in the defense products, then India export will rise. Currently, the Vietnam and the Malaysia, the Southeast Asian nations, they are interested to procure the Indian weaponry system such as BrahMos, Akash missile system. And also, India provide a lot of defense equipment to our neighboring countries such as Nepal, Bangladesh, Maldives, Sri Lanka, etc. And it will boost the Indian GDP. It will be a boon for the Indian economy. Indian economy will rise too much. And now talking about the challenges, then the competition for Indian domestic industries. There will be a fear of collapse of the Indian domestic manufacture industries who are working for defense development. So there can be a unfair competition, and the Indian market will maybe collapse. But there is more possibility of positive chances that due to the fair competition, the Indian defense will automatically increase, and there can be a kind of monopoly of foreign companies, because if too much investment come in India, then there is also fear of monopoly of foreign companies, and also too much delays in projects by government. in India you have seen that government they are not focused on the defense projects. For example, the Indian HAL, Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, they have been working on the Tejas aircraft since 1980s, and we have able to complete in 2005 and the second version in 2014. And also the lack of skilled laborer in India due to the poor education system, there is a lack of skilled laborer. So this is also a big challenge for the government to provide quality education in the youth of the country. And at the end, I would like to give a way forward for the topic. The currently appointed the Chief of Defence Staff, the CDS could examine the defence acquisition from a tri-service angle. This may avoid delay and speed up the defence procurements. So the currently the CDS, the first CDS of India is the General Bipin Rawat. It is a 4-star rank. So this appointment will see the all the procurements of the weapon in a tri-service manner, because he is the head of the all the three services in India: Army, Navy, and Air Force. So he can consult to every sector, and he will keep an watch on all the defense deals of India. So this will avoid delay and it will speed up the defense procurement process. Now, the mandatory transfer of technology will be the best way forward. India should India should do it compulsory that the transfer of technology will be mandatory. Otherwise, nobody will get an opportunity to invest in Indian defense sector, because it is an strategic sector for India or for any other country in the world. And the next advantage, the next way forward, the promote India's defense export. For example, on every 26th Republic Day parade, India promotes its defense capabilities. For example, in 2018, when ASEAN nations had came over here, so India showed their BrahMos Akash missile system, and that is why the Vietnam was very excited to purchase the Indian defense equipments. So India will have to promote and advertise its defense export. And there is a good example in this regard, the Defense Expo. Every year, India conducts a Defense Expo where the defense companies from all over the world, the Lockheed Martin, Dassault, Israel Space Industry, they come here and participate in the Defense Expo, which will be good for the Indian defense manufacturer, Indian defense equipments to get the exposure of the world market. And also extended assistance to the domestic industries. So because there will be FDI, then they can work in India in joint collaboration, and it will enhance and assist the domestic industries to grow more, and it will lead to the our own defense domestic industry grow their capabilities. And at the end, the last point, that India, it is high time in India, because in future India is going to procure and build more and more weapons. So India must form the national defense industrial policy, because it is very much requirement. Currently India also brought the Indian digital policy. So India should also bring the national defense industrial policy so as to better implementation of all the defense procurements and the deals, so that there will be no corruption and the procurements will be faster. So this is all in this lecture. I hope you like. If you like this video, then please share and subscribe the channel, and do not forget to press the bell icon. So good night, take care.